I'm sorry, what just happened? Lumen just completely upped their game in the evil department this episode with a shocking, insane reveal at the end of the episode. I could not believe it. But just before it was all revealed with the very obvious fingers on the face being like, this is a mystery, who is it? As soon as he had the picture up and he started ripping it up, and it was like close enough where it was like, okay, you've got someone there but you haven't like shown her face, I knew. I'm like, oh my god, it's a main character. My mind went straight to Helly though, straight to Helly. Like as soon as he started ripping up, I'm like, oh my god, he's going to come back inside, he's going to piece it together, and we're going to zoom in on the final jigsaw piece of the picture, and it's going to be Helly. It's Helly reveal! Helly reveal, everyone! But no, it's, and I had to look this up on my phone, Miss Casey. I didn't know her name. I knew who it was in the show, I just didn't know her name. She's barely been in it, but it's Miss Casey, the wellness counselor lady. So, she works for Lumen, which means Lumen have potentially, intentionally killed his wife, taken her away, implanted her with fake memories, maybe from someone else's chip or something, put in memories, gone, you're the wellness counselor, you've got an outie, we promise. She doesn't have an outie, maybe, I think that's my theory. But she doesn't have an outie, she's just trapped in there being the wellness counselor to her husband, Mark, who has only decided to be severed because he's so traumatized by the fact that Lumen has probably killed his wife, but he thinks it was just a tragic car accident and that she's dead. She's not even dead! Seriously, this reveal is almost too much. It's crazy. I didn't expect anything like this. Lumen is clearly evil at this point. At one stage, I'm like, maybe, they're doing this for the greater good and they're, using it to splice people's brains, but the only way to do it is to sever people, which is awful and it's, just in concept. But maybe it's for the greater good. For the greater good. But no. No. Absolutely not. This show is just like, I don't know. That is so crazy to me that his wife isn't dead. Like, his entire character as an outie is from that trauma. And the idea that Lumen has potentially created this trauma. I mean, I don't think they've found the body and gone, oh, she's actually not dead. Oh, let's pretend she's dead and, now let's sever her and make her an employee and all this stuff. I think they must have orchestrated this from the get-go. And then you suddenly think, wait, is everyone dealing with kind of traumas? And are they all just being caused by Lumen? Lumen are like, we need to sever people. But who's going to be severed? People that are dealing with the trauma and they want to black out half of the day, I guess. So let's create that trauma. Let's just go and kill a bunch of people or fake kill them and then use them as employees. It's just, it just reshapes everything in this kind of crazy way where I'm like so satisfied at this big epic reveal. It recontextualizes a lot of things, but also just makes me feel sick. Just sick to my stomach. I'm like, I hate big evil corporations, but now I really hate them. So many feelings, so much shock and awe at just that last moment, the reveal and the build up of like, who is it? And then suddenly it all just kind of clicking into place. It's just, I don't know, just a devastating reveal. This reveal really opens up the door for just so many kind of different things that Lumen can be doing and what they're using the severed kind of, thing for. And like just the way these chips are kind of working, how they're working, why they're using them. It's just kind of blown everything out of the water. All my thoughts and theories just feel like they've been shattered. I'm just kind of like in shock now where I'm just like, they can do anything. Are they in control of this whole town? Is this whole town like a big experiment and they're just going to manipulate and twist and use anyone the way they want and get them into severed through manipulation and just devastating trauma and loss and heartbreak and grief and maybe guilt and just all the words, all the sad words. And Lumen's like, we're going to do this. We're the puppet masters. Just, I don't know. Just really, really upsetting. We get a little tease of like the board members. Harmony, Mrs. Medium Lady from Medium. You're going to meet with the board members. Presumably next week that will happen. Really, really excited. I really want to see, is that senator involved? Are they all high politician people? Are they just random townsfolk? Like, who are these boards people? Who are the board members? I want to see this stuff. I am so keen for this kind of show to just kind of unveil all its mysteries and secrets at this point. We've gotten so much at this point, and I cannot wait for them to, as he says, burn this place to the ground. Irving's whole arc this episode, like speaking of burning it to the ground, just so sad. This episode was just so sad. Like, from Dylan's story to Irvin's story, just so traumatic. Like, last week I found it really cute and adorable that, like, They were almost going to kiss. He's like, I'm just not quite ready. And you're like, oh, I can't wait for next episode. They're going to kiss and then have sex. It's going to be awesome. But no, they don't even have a goodbye kiss. And Bert is punished by being retired. And it didn't really occur to me, but being retired means death. Like, it's a death retirement. Like, it's murder. It's assassination. It's really kind of, I don't know, I'd never really kind of considered it like that before, where it's like these people are born and created and put into this area and they're just slaves. You're just creating a slave version of yourself, and then whenever you want to retire or are forced to retire potentially, they just die. Their memory, their entire existence just disappears. Irving's moment where he's standing there, they're all cheering, they're having a silly cheesy kind of birthday party celebration, and they're all like, yeah! And Irving is just devastated. John Turturro's performance in that moment was just exceptional. It's been such a kind of endearing, cute performance, and he kind of enjoys the work a little bit too much, and that's kind of annoying, but, you know, just charming performance. His romance with Christopher Walken, it's just been so beautiful and heartwarming. And then this absolute heartbreak where you realize it's not going to be, Bert's gone forever, and he's just screaming at Milchek and just letting him know that he knows that he's not getting severed, and he's full of shit, and all this stuff was just so powerful. Like, potentially the most emotional scene in the whole show for me so far. Like, I was floored. I was just devastated, like, just shaking. You know, when you just get that kind of, like, buzz of euphoria of just being like, oh, this scene is just hitting every emotional beat. It's just so overwhelming. Just goosebumps all over. Absolutely loved it. Their arc and their story has maybe been the highlight of the show for me. And the way it ended killed me. And I'm so sad. And if he doesn't get to meet him on the outside world, there is no justice in this universe. And goddamn it, Severance. How dare you do that to me? Dylan's arc this episode was equally upsetting and traumatic. And I just, real sad. Just him sitting there, and he's always, he's always like, ba-ba-ba, quick-witted comeback with a bit of swears involved, and, all that stuff. But this episode, he's just, like, staring at the computer, and just the way they framed him, and the way there's so many close-ups, and it just kind of kept building and building, and I adore when this show does terrible workplace gimmicks, where they're like, hey, work isn't awful, with 5 minutes of music, isn't that fun, ha 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 ha. Such a horrific thing to be like, we're treating you like slaves and all this stuff, and you're work people, and it's all awful, and you're just sitting around doing nothing. We've literally locked you in like a prison now. We've completely locked you in. You're trapped in here. But hey, 5 minutes of fun music time. And of course, even though it's horrendous that they're kind of using music to kind of manipulate and kind of twist them in this way, that sequence was so much fun. Seeing all the actors just kind of get down and boogie and dance. Mark's, like, white boy dance was just, just so funny. Love them all just having a cheeky boogie. The lighting was amazing. At first, it's just doing a bit of flashing red, and then it just goes ballistic. All the colors everywhere. Like an amazing nightclub lighting, just freaking out. Loved it so much. So cool. And then suddenly, Milchek, the psychopath, the absolute psychopath, he knows that Dylan is just sitting there thinking about his son that he'll never see again, and Milchek's just like dancing all over him like the most obnoxious snob in the entire universe. Milchek, this guy's gonna punch you in the face. I mean, I was a little bit concerned that he might even grab like a pen and stab him in the eye and like get sent away forever. It might be the end of Dylan by murdering Milchek. But instead, he charges him, smashes against the wall, takes a giant chunk out of him. He bites him, which is kind of just terrifying and amazing. I love that he went beast mode on Milchek. Super satisfying, but just heartbreaking and devastating as well. Just screaming, what's the name of my son? Just tell him the name of his son. Like, it's just, I don't know. I love that he has a son and it's just kind of eating away. Well, I don't love it. It's horrifying and heartbreaking, but it's a story element. It's really interesting to see a character know what they're missing out on. Because when you're trapped inside there, you don't know what it's like. You're like probably having this suspicion that maybe it's not great out there. Maybe that's why I'm here. Like, I don't know. Like, you can always just be like, well, it's probably boring and nothing. Or, you can always make excuses and be like, well, maybe I'm alone. Maybe it sucks being out there. All these excuses, knowing he has a son he's never going to see, like a little boy, he's never going to see grow up and do all the things of life and stuff, like dating and getting a car and doing a little dance with his son, or I don't know, things, kicking a football or whatever. Just, absolutely traumatic, devastated me. Dylan's performance in this episode was exceptional. We kind of saw a really different layer to the acting and the character that we hadn't really seen before. He's kind of been, not like one note, but, he's not really been able to flex yet. He's been mostly kind of sarcastic and funny and, charming and a bit like silly, and now we get to kind of get all that raw emotion that the character's now dealing with, which I just found so exciting and traumatic and horrific and just, this episode really was kind of maybe the best one yet. We had so much stuff happen. Oh, I haven't even talked about the start, where Mark's like, we're doing secret spy stuff and we're going to a secret corridor. And she's like, I'm the chip lady. I'm Mrs. Chip Lady. I put the chip in your head. And I'm the only one that can take the chip out. And then that security guard guy's like, who are you talking to? I can only see you because the blocking in this scene means I can't see her. But you're definitely talking to someone. Who is it? And then, boom. Chip Lady goes baseball bat berserk, like she's bloody Eli Roth from Inglourious Bastards, and she's just hitting the guy with a baseball bat. Just crazy. Every time there's like a show where it's not about the murder and the mayhem and all that stuff, like, it's not a Game of Thrones or whatever. When there's violence like that, it's so shocking. And I was just like, whoa, this show is about to go off the deep end, but in like a good way. And it does. It's it's not an action-packed episode, don't know why I said that, but it's a emotionally kind of rich episode with so many kind of devastating moments, so many big moments, and it really does now feel like we're ramping up to those kind of 2 final episodes for the season. And something I would love to know from people is, do you want a season 2? Or do you kind of want this to be a one and done season? Like, we get a big episode next week, and then an even bigger kind of finale that wraps everything up? Or would you prefer the next 2 episodes to reveal a few things, but then leave a bunch open for a season 2? At this point, it's so good, I really want a season 2, I think. But there is something kind of enticing and amazing about the idea of a one and done season, where all the ideas are there. There's going to be no filler or like big, long, kind of overdrawn, things happening where they kind of extend it beyond maybe, its story limits. And I love the idea that in 2 episodes, everything would come to be, they would burn Lumen to the ground and they'd escape and be innies and outies. But maybe 2 episodes isn't enough unless they're kind of big 90-minute episodes. Because a lot happened this episode, but also it just flew by and there's still so much more to do. Mark getting the all-access, super sexy security guard card thingy was super awesome, just in terms of them being like, we're locked in, it's a prison, escalation on the villain's, part, but we got super secret key that can do anything. So we trumped locked door, and now they can just kind of do anything. They get into the security area, they figure out how to do the switch, the flicky flick switch, to switch their brains on and off, like, at any time. So just super excited to see that happen. Cannot wait to see more of, like, the all the innies, outies lives. Really, really curious to see what Helly's life is like. I really did think she was going to be Mark's wife in those final moments as he's piecing it together, being like, I love my wife, she's the greatest thing in the world. I'm like, it's Helly! Oh, it's Helly! It's not Helly. It's the wellness lady, which is just insane and crazy. It's so crazy to think she's not dead. I really can't get over that. It's just, oh boy. I'm so excited to see what happens next. Seeing Mark in that kind of drunken, kind of messy, kind of depressed state at the end of the episode was really, really great acting, but really hard to watch. His kind of descent into, not madness, but just that kind of grief that's kind of overwhelmed again by seeing security guard officer, bad guy get hit in the head and die, and it kind of all escalate. Kind of would have loved to have a little bit more of Chip Lady. She does a bit of revealing at the start where she's like, I'm the Chip Lady, I'll take the chip out or whatever. But then, because of the murder and stuff, she's like, get out of here, get out of here! So I would have just liked a little bit more of, reveals and revelations and things, because I just love all that stuff, especially when you get kind of the back end, you're like, give me the answers, please, I've been patient-ish, not really, but give me them now. I guess we'll wait for next week, and Chip Lady will be back, and she'll be like, more secrets and revelations and reveals. She kind of alludes to PT kind of doing something, but that must just be burning the place to the ground. Also, back to burning the place down. Love kind of the moment that Irving walks back into the room and he's said goodbye to Bert forever. Also, when they meet up and they do the handshake, I'm like, kiss! Oh, for the love of God, please just kiss! And they didn't. It broke my heart, very sad, and that moment where he's just walking through, they shoot all the hallways so beautifully, where it transitioned from one white wall into the same white wall, but it's a different white wall later, just making it feel so repetitive and just numbing in this horrible white hallways, never-ending hallways of just, I just hate it. But it's so brilliantly filmed, I love that aspect of it, but I hate the feeling it kind of gives me, the feeling I feel like the characters would have just walking through this endless hallways, and then he gets back in there. We slowly pan around all the main characters who are all now at a point where they're like, screw this, let's burn this place to the ground. And then it gets to Irving, the last one who would want to burn it to the ground. And then he's like, let's burn this to the ground! Oh, just so satisfying. It was like such an amazing kind of moment of just kind of like, just a cathartic, like fist pump action hero moment. It was just so good. Cannot wait for more. Cannot wait for them to burn Lumen to the ground, or at least attempt to, and then Lumen will be like, actually, we can't, you can't, gotcha. Season 2, or whatever. Who knows? Very, very excited. Super keen to hear anyone's theories and speculation and all the absolute crazy sci-fi madness and what the hell is going on. Last week I had a big, wild, crazy theory that they were making sleeper agent super spies. No more kind of hints towards that kind of thing. But I do think I was kind of going way off the deep end with that idea. Maybe that's like an element to it. It's still eluding me exactly what their plan, their ultimate goal is. Maybe there's a bunch of different goals. Maybe they've got a lot of different things they want to do with it all. But yeah, super excited for more. Just an exceptional show. Everything, the acting, the writing, the music, the story. It's blowing me away. And I'm super excited, but I'm also really sad there's only 2 more episodes left. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thought of this episode of Severance and that huge, crazy picture wife reveal she's not dead!